friends. I'm Prairie Vintage Jewelry. My name is Linda. I'm an energy intuitive reader here on YouTube. I use spirit, my intuition, and the tarot to communicate energy to you, beautiful viewer. Before you click away, this isn't your typical ask a question and I will give you your yes, no, maybe answer. What this is you ask a question in regards to if I were to go towards whatever situation, circumstance, person, new opportunity, old opportunity, whatever it may be, if I were to go towards this path or not, turn it down, don't do anything, sit here in the energy, what would happen? So this is more about the pathway, okay? So the pathway, what the outcome would be if you say yes, if you say no, or if you do nothing at all. Now, there's a big difference between no and doing nothing at all that you need to keep in mind, okay? So yes is pretty obvious. We take that job or we send that letter or we commit to said person or we jump into whatever situation and we energetically involve ourselves, okay? With no, we outright turn down, say no, and then energetically we have to detach, remove, release, go on to something new, or just disengage altogether with the no. The maybe here, okay, the maybe here is where we don't do anything. Now, not doing anything usually results in a no, okay, because we're not energetically invested. However, the big difference between the no and this maybe is that we don't do anything and we let the chips fall where they may. However, we're still energetically enmeshed in said experience. So we're not completely removed with the no, but we just kind of don't do anything and we just see what happens. And we're going to see the outcome of kind of not engaging or not doing anything actively outright, but still we are energetically tied to said situation and we haven't released and we're kind of just sitting idle, so to speak, okay? That's the maybe. So feel free to take a look at all three pathways to see what will happen. What you need to have, though, is whatever situation or circumstance in your mind. So if I were to take that job, you know, if I were to move states or provinces or take that new house or put in that offer, if I were to do that, what would that look like? What's the outcome? Okay, if I were to take that relationship, if I were to send that email, whatever the case may be, this is the yes for pile one. Pile two is if I were to turn down, you know, this offer and go elsewhere, if I were to not buy this house and end up doing something else, if I were to release this situation, this person, the circumstance, and pull my energy and go elsewhere to move on to something else, this is a clear and definite no. We've outright decided a no, okay, energetically and potentially verbally. And then the maybe, like I said, the big difference here is we are not saying no, we're not saying yes, we're energetically kind of sitting in a maybe, but we want to see how will the situation kind of unfold if we don't proactively say yes, we don't proactively say no. What will the situation, what is the outcome that will unfold? So have your question ready, because your question will apply to all three pathways in different ways depending on how you engage and whichever way it's going to unfold. All right, so yes, no, maybe. I will put the timestamp in the description box, and in the pinned comment you could see one aspect or all three if you want to see the outcome. That's absolutely up to you, and I will see you at your pick. Hello, gorgeous pile number one. If you skip the intro, very important that you know that your answer here is yes. This is the yes pathway. The reading here more is what will be the outcome if you do decide to pursue said person, opportunity, situation, job, whatever the case may be here. This is your situation, your circumstance. You're entertaining a yes. You want to know what will happen if you do commit or if you do pursue, if you do energetically move forward in said direction, what will be the outcome? So let's take a look at the yes pile and see what will happen if you do move forward with whatever you're thinking about moving forward. Now, my job's to read the energy here. I will do my best. Now, there's lots of situations, circumstances. That's your own personal thing. So please apply this however you can to your situation as best you can. All right. If this does not sound like something that you can resonate with, then it might not be your reading here today. Okay. If the yes is not completely resonating here for you, then chances are this may not be your reading. But let's ask Spirit for clear and concise reveal here as far as the outcome to pile number 1's yes pathway. If they were to commit, move forward, say yes, energetically move on towards whatever their situation is, what will happen? Thank you, spirits. And thank you so much, pile number 1, for allowing me to tap into your energy. We have quite a few coming out. All right, so we're going to do, actually going to do it like this. We have the 10 of Swords in reverse. We have the King of Wands. We have the 7 of Pentacles. We have the 4 of Wands. And then we have the 6 of Wands in reverse. Okay. I'm going to do the pyramid here first, and then read your situation as we go. We have the 2 of Cups. We have the Ace of Wands in reverse. We have Judgment. And we have the World. All right. We have Temperance in reverse. We have the 5 of Swords in reverse. We have the Knight of Swords in reverse, and then the outcome, which we won't flip just yet. The outcome we won't flip just yet. I mean, the whole story unfolds here, but we'll turn that over as we get to the top of your pyramid. I'm going to check that we are all in frame. Perfect. All right, so give me a second to tap into this yes pathway and outcome for you. Okay, this one's interesting because I think there's a lot of people here in which depends on how you positioned, I guess, your question here, because I do feel as though there is something you're contemplating, whether to kind of maybe put an end to something, or something is ended and you're considering how you move forward from it. So it could be in any situation, either, like I said, you're no longer engaged in something here, or you're contemplating not engaging completely, and what that would look like. But I feel like it does involve a decision here, whether to bring something to an end, or how to move forward from an end of something. How do you engage here is really the question. Do you continue to put forward energy and effort? Is this going to be something that is fruitful? Is it going to result in something that is stable? Is this going to result in something that you're going to be successful? Is this something that's going to provide you with the same level of energy that's worth your time and your effort, that you can rely on here? Okay, like what's going to happen here? So I feel like this is an interesting energy that I'm picking up here. I feel like what Spirit is saying is the energy's kind of stuck in the you having to actually find it within yourself to pull up energy in order to make it a yes, in order for it to balance out, in order for there to be the stability, in order for things to work out successfully. It's like you have to, I mean, you don't have to do anything, but that's kind of the energy that I'm picking up, is like there's something here that you're having to pull from within you that maybe is the bigger challenge here. It isn't necessarily the situation or the circumstance itself, because the circumstance and situation is available to you if you want it. That's what I'm seeing here, okay? There's a clear pathway here for you to accept this. clearly, maybe that's why you're here. The decision's kind of sitting on you, so you can say yes or no. But this should resonate with you, is that you know that you could say a yes here and be successful, but what you're going to need in this yes situation is you're going to have to find it within yourself. And maybe this is just it. You don't feel as though you carry the confidence or the skill per se, or have the right type of energy to be successful here in this situation. And you're not sure if you don't, and let's say you show up short, or you show up in a way that isn't bringing justice maybe to a situation. No matter how hard you try here, you might think that it's going to do more bad, or it's going to result in an end, or it's going to result in you, like not succeeding here. So I see a bigger challenge here in you developing your confidence in self in order to make this successful. So if you do say yes, okay, I do see you really having to more believe in yourself, which sounds very cliche here, but that's what's getting in the way of things actually working out towards the yes. Once you overcome that, because I feel like that's really the only thing in the way, is you maybe talking yourself out of, or creating an obstacle here and talking yourself out of a situation here. It's almost like you're the one not really showing up to energetically feed a situation successfully because of your lack of feeling as though you're able to, or have the determination to stick to. So if you're questioning whether this is going to be something abundant for you, absolutely. And I do see it being successful. You're just really going to have to get out of your own kind of head here. And you're going to have to, yes, definitely show up and bring with you whatever sort of energy you need in order for it to be successful. And I see if you get in an energy where you're not able to, or think you're not able to confidently be successful here, you might show up in a way that I don't think you're intending on doing. So this one is you probably looking at, if you were to say yes, I see you kind of psyching yourself out is what I see. I see you psyching yourself out, and then I see you maybe potentially just getting too overwhelmed in some way by your own action that you might hesitate or pull away, or get into a sort of a funk here where you don't quite show up. So, I mean, I don't think you're ready to say yes until you overcome whatever this is that's holding you back. Because I feel like the only thing, without really repeating myself, the only thing that is going to make this work is if you say yes, but you come of an energy of yes. Because I feel like you saying yes here, your energy is still second guessing. It's still, So I think you need time to really review. Okay, so let's see the outcome here. The devil, something's holding you back, but I don't feel like you're able to really maybe let go of some situation before accepting or saying yes to this, and that needs to be resolved. And for some of you guys, you might be really kind of wanting to say yes out of a holding of energy, but it's more out of a reason of not releasing here, for more of a devil type energy. So devil is where we, have some toxicity in how we're engaging, and we might feel very limited or held back by situations, circumstances, people, that sort of thing. And in this case, what I was really feeling here was your energy was not believing in self or the confidence or the ability. You almost feel like if you do try or if you invest, it's going to end in something horrible. And it's going to end anyways. And if you start to engage, you're going to do something all of a sudden or not show up the way you intend, and then you're going to have to sneak away in some way or call it quits, or it's just going to end abruptly, and then you're going to appear in a certain way that you don't want, and so what's it even worth? But the energy here that you're engaging with, that situation, that person, that circumstance, is an absolute positive yes, and there's an ability for success here. And that's something you're needing to see clearly that I don't think you see because of your devil energy. Okay, and if you're held back by, I mean, that sort of an energy that you're held back by is certainly internal, but if there is a circumstance here, I feel like that you're still dependent on in some way, you're going to have to resolve that and get very honest with yourself before engaging, because I don't think you're able to fully be in a mindset that's going to contribute in a balanced way to this situation. For some of you guys, I'm getting the message here. If you're wanting success here in something that has ended, that you've already been putting in energy and effort towards, or a situation that's been kind of not paying forward anything here, and you're contemplating getting into. So this is kind of like a rebirth in an existing situation, reinvesting, you know, in that same job that you might have worked at one time, that same relationship, reviewing something that you've already experienced here and you're not sure if you should. The advice here is nothing has really changed here in this situation. Nothing has changed here in this situation here. So there's a need to come to terms with something here, to conclude something here before there can be a rebirth. But whatever that is still energetically not quite there. So your advice here is to just exit from the situation. Okay, that's interesting. Let's pull some oracle cards here for you guys. I don't know how much sense this totally made. Not what I expected to see in the yes pile, but let us pull some oracle cards. This is kind of the energy in which Spirit is wanting to communicate for the yes pathway. We have romantic love. Interesting, we see the Two of Cups here. 39. It says the frequency of romantic love supports our journey to feel whole and complete through the experience with and reflection of a conscious lover. So, I mean, you can apply this certainly to a creative passion, pursuit, you know, employment, relationship, whatever it may be. If your heart is in whatever this thing is here, it has to feed your soul here, okay? So it's going to have to be a reciprocal energy. So your employer is going to have to pay you proper, is going to have to be aware of your needs, your growth, have a career path, right? If you're with a partner here, your partner is going to have to reciprocate, is going to have to bring forward and be conscious in this connection rather than maybe just doing the actions. So or vice versa, you're going to have to be conscious. You cannot just be kind of in a situation here without stepping forward, which was the first scenario I was reading. So someone with the confidence to engage here and be aware and conscious and Invest solely, completely being present in the moment here out of a complete desire. So if you're able to do this and the other energy here does not, then I think intuitively there's a need to get honest with this. Okay, so if it's a situation here in which you've experienced an end, okay, even if you haven't, you might be contemplating an end, or you might be, I do feel as though this is an energy here of reviewing something for a rebirth is kind of what I am seeing here. Okay, like being reborn into a situation here that maybe you've tried at one point. Doesn't have to be the exact same situation, but it could be that person, could be that same employer, maybe a different role, but something about it here, you know, I feel as though you know exactly whether you were the one kind of in an energy that was more trying to get something off the ground, and whether one energy was not showing up or not energetically allowing things to flow here, or you could have been the one. So whatever the one energy is that's not consciously aware, it still is unconsciously aware and needs to make itself consciously aware. So if that's you, you have the ability to do this, okay? As this King of Wands, you have the ability to do this, but you need to be very aware of it. Now, if that wasn't you and you kind of energetically were able to invest here, but it didn't seem like anything you were kind of able to do didn't change any sort of energy, then this energy is still in a devil energy, and it's unable to give to you energetically whatever it is that's going to make this come out. Now, this energy does seem like it most likely does depend on you. Okay, so maybe this workplace says, you know, you're the only one that can do this job right. It may offer you a whole bunch of money here, but at the end of the day, the actual deed itself isn't rewarding, okay? If this is a person who comes forward here with an opportunity to renew something that might have ended at some point, there might be a desire and an obsession too because of a inability to release. But I feel like this energy is one that is still unable to alchemize themselves and be conscious in this situation in which maybe they've been self-sabotaging in some way, okay? And I feel like they are needing to really come to a realization that that sort of an energy needs to come to an end here in order for there to be a successful union of sorts, okay? But I don't see that this is, that they've had that yet, that they've had that sort of awakening. All right, let's look at this oracle card before we move on to the no, taking a vow. Yeah, so this is exactly the energy. And look, we have the number 12, which is the number 3, and that's all about collaboration. Okay, could be work, like I said, but it's working together. It's working with another. It's bringing a balance to a situation where two sides can harmonize and work past maybe past situations that might have not have been optimal in order to now have a better result here. But if one side or one energy isn't able to alchemize, we get the same result. So this is taking a vow. This is like a commitment to how we're going to show up here, and both sides, right? Because I mean, you can't have one side taking a vow and another not. You know, and when we say vow, I mean, it doesn't have to be as formal, but in sorts, it is a sort of a commitment, because we're committing a yes to an energy here. We're making a vow, or in this case, taking a vow, towards working with another, okay, towards being successful, towards kind of combining two energies here to make a third result, which could lead to success. If we want success, then the only way to be successful would be the part that we're able to be in control of, and trust that the other side is taking a vow to also do what they can to be conscious to make something work. But if the other energy here is not collaborating or cooperating or wanting to engage or show up or put in energy, effort, or see something here, then we can take a vow and be completely disappointed in saying yes and agreeing to something here. Okay, and although it may feel good in the moment or be something we might have a difficult time releasing, right? Like saying no to that fat paycheck, or something positive here about maybe, you know, agreeing, but it's more of an immediate satisfaction. But long term here, you know, I think what you do want is a successful long-term result here, but I don't feel as though it is in that energy to deliver. Okay, it'll just deliver some sort of devil energy here, which might be temporarily okay, but not okay in the long term here. Okay, so this is what I see here for the yes pathway. We're going to take a look at the no. We're going to take a look at the no. All right. So, no pile or no pick, okay, with this red jasper pyramid. We're looking at the no group, and this is the pathway if you were to say no thank you and energetically completely remove your energy and either invest it towards something else, agree to something else, but energetically you're completely able to remove yourself and not be enmeshed in the what ifs or still leaving a back door open possibility. This is like a clear cut no, remove energy, and forward you go. Okay, so let's take a look at the pathway of the no's and see where this will result, what will happen here with the no's. Thank you so much, Spirit, for clear and concise message here for beautiful no group. I'm so blessed. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, no group, pile twos, for joining me. And if you've joined me for all three piles, thank you so much. Again, please make sure you have your situation in your mind if you skip through the intro. Okay, so this is if you were to say no to whatever situation, circumstance you have in your mind. Could be anything from moving countries, taking that job offer, jumping into that relationship. And if you were to say no, or not buy that house, or not move now, or whatever the no is, here's the pathway or the outcome result of you saying no and energetically doing the no. Okay, you have to energetically be in the release here in order for this to be the outcome, because the maybe pile is where we can also be saying no by not doing anything, but energetically we're still kind of enmeshed in the situation. So this is completely removed. We turn down the offer, or we just don't do it and we go do something else, or just remove ourselves. Okay, so we have the Three of Wands in reverse. We have the Four of Cups. We have Justice. We have the Ace of Swords. We have the Moon in reverse. All right. We have the King of Swords. We have the Ten of Swords. We have the Three of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Five of Pentacles. We have the Three of Cups. We have the Two of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Knight of Wands, and the outcome we won't flip just yet. We will read the energy here of your situation. I'll just apply this to you, okay? Because there's lots of different situation circumstances here that we're reading for. So just apply how this does to your situation. So if you say no completely and pull your energy, and this is no longer an option for you at all because you're decided to release here, it is clearly indicated here. You're not even waiting here, okay? What this brings about is an energy. Two things I'm getting is, one, I don't think you want to say no here, okay? And I think that you're kind of thinking, like, if I say no, I'm going to be in an energy here that I don't think I'm going to be excited. I don't think that, that I'm going to be in a positive energy. So it's difficult to say no here. But also, I think Spirit is confirming here that it may take a while for you to kind of mourn over, kind of like a breakup where we're sitting here, we're not really interested in whatever's being offered here. So you might say, I don't want this other house, or I don't want this other city, or I don't want this, to get back into the dating pool. I want whatever it was that I wanted in the first place. And you might be in that energy, and I think you're right. But what I think Spirit is saying is you're going to sit in this energy for a bit. Okay, so, but you're still leaning towards this no. You have to commit to yourself, whatever this no is. And you're going to see through a big illusion here, okay? You're going to get very clear about an illusion here, and you're going to be able to really conclude something here that might be painful at first, and then you might really not want to be in whatever said energy is here. But what this is doing is allowing you to see through an illusion here that whatever the situation or the circumstance was, could have been an energy here where you would have showed up and energetically would have been very disappointed here. Had you shown up, had you put in energy, had you tried to make something happen here, I think you most likely would know that you'd be left out in the cold here, because I feel like there's an energy here, and I'm certain it's most likely yours. But you can flip it, okay? Because this is interesting. The energy I'm feeling here is flipped from the first pile that didn't come until the end, is of an energy that wants to show up, wants to work, wants to make something happen, and another energy here that doesn't want to engage, so, or isn't able to, or doesn't know how to, or just doesn't show up here, in which would have resulted in an ending, painful anyway. So there becomes very clear here. There's a certainty, there's an understanding that it takes more than one person, or else someone's going to get left out in the cold, and things don't really result here in much of anything. So I do feel as though there's an energy here. I think there's a lopsidedness of energy here, because I feel like somebody might feel as though, okay, this you have to kind of apply this to your situation, okay? But I feel like one side is a little bit lopsided. It might come with an energy of, on the surface, appearing like it would work or would be good, or it the initial stages of maybe taking that contract seem good, or the first step of how it kind of makes you feel. Like there seems to me, and I'm getting the same energy that I got in the yes pile. It's like something that you've already kind of released and it didn't work at some point. So it's almost like you come together again. So it could be a reconciliation in a partnership. It could be coming back to an old workplace, or something here that seems like it would work out in theory, and at the end of the day, I feel like it's still a little bit of an imbalance here, because it's not very deep. Okay, and once it gets deep here, you soon recognize you're kind of on your own here, and there's something not fulfilling about it. So either in the long term, the pay's not worth it, or the fact that maybe the reconciliation part might seem joyous, the connection itself, somebody doesn't show up here. Whatever it is, it results in you coming to call it quits anyway, because I feel you come to some sort of realization, recognition, some sort of truth here that sees through any sort of bullshit here, illusion that you're needing to see. And I feel like there is, desire coming in here from, let's say, your workplace here really wants to have you. This new, let's say, house could be beautiful, maybe on the outside, or something about the move would be exciting here, but the bad outweighs the good is what I'm seeing. The everyday day in, day out part of whatever this is would eventually catch up to you and be a no anyway for you, or at least make you feel like, yeah, I should have seen kind of through this, or would have known here that it wasn't working with my lifestyle, or I wasn't able to support something here that I was trying to pull off the ground. So it would save you a lot of time here, although initially kind of frustrating. I do see that. I do see you being despondent. I do see you kind of going through a detached period here where it might be difficult, but sticking to your no will bring a clear justice to you and a clarity to you here, that you would eventually learn if you said yes and then went through the process here of being disappointed here, okay? Let's take a look at the outcome. An outcome that doesn't want to flip. 7 of Wands. So what Spirit is saying here is, I mean, this is a card of defensiveness, okay? But it's also a card of potentially standing your ground here, but it's fighting. So I feel like there's multiple things. One is, I don't think you want to say no here. I think you're trying to make whatever it is work, okay? And I feel like you can make whatever it is work, although I feel it goes from a 7 of Wands right now to really trying, standing your ground, defending your position here, to a quick realization here that there might be some illusions you're needing to get out of, because eventually you'll come to conclusion that they're an ending here of whatever, not deciding to do whatever because of a fact that you kind of feel like it's not working out here, okay? Like if you were to be supported by this workplace, I feel like they might support you in one capacity, but when it comes to your day in, day out, there's something here about you feeling not supported, or not, like you're going to have to fight for this whole thing, okay? And then the other energy I'm getting is you're going to have to fight to say no here, because being in this energy isn't great. So it's like stand your ground in understanding a truth here, or a clarity here, and fight for your position of what it is you want for yourself. And what I think you want for yourself is to build something bigger than yourself here, but I don't think you want to work alone. I feel like there is, you know, you experiencing this 5 of Pentacles in the past in a situation, and I think you have an understanding here of this. So you want someone who is able to recognize this, who can prioritize whatever this is as much as you're prioritizing or putting into it, rather than just kind of keep a peace here or come together for a good time, okay? Because this, again, could be the employer saying, yay, okay, we got you back, or here's your, you know, your office, you know, whatever it is, or here, let's move to the city, there's bright lights, or this big home, because it looks good and it is something new. And then after the party, okay, after the party, after the reunion, after the big pay signing bonus or whatever, the reality comes in, and it's like it wasn't enough here, because I feel left out in the cold, because it wasn't about the big house, or it wasn't about the big check, or it wasn't about the reconciliation. It was about me getting supported here and building something and working with someone that I think doesn't really, can't really make this a priority, okay? This becomes very clear abruptly, and it's like, I got to keep fighting, and it goes from a 7 of Wands to this 10 of Swords. So you don't want to have to keep fighting here. You don't want to have to keep fighting here. So this is what we see here for your no pile, or pathway. Let's take a look at the oracle cards to see what Spirit wants to say about the energy here for the no pathway. What is this energy about? What is this energy about? Now, like I said, for the yes, because there's a lot of you guys, depending on how you asked your sort of your question here and your situation, you might be of the energy that, you know, is coming in, wanting some sort of, big payout or a reconciliation yourself, but maybe you're not able to do the day in, day out here, okay? Or at least this is your understanding of it. And sometimes the King of Swords has an understanding here, a logical understanding, but it may or may not be accurate. And what the universe is kind of showing here in spirit is you need to get very clear and honest, not with what you think, because the King of Swords runs with his own logic, and see how the sword of truth is crooked. It's not straight up and down. So he believes something to be true. And I'm only picking this up because of pile number 1. There's a belief here that maybe he's not good enough, or maybe he lacks something that, you know, some skill to make it work. He's unable to show up. He's unable to work. He's some sort of idea here that he's hanging on to, that I think he needs to cut through some sort of illusion here. Because unless he does, it's going to result in an ending, because he might not show up, and he might want to say, okay, I want to reconcile here. And inside, I know I don't have this skill or whatever it may be. Now, let's use the analogy or the example here of, you know, moving to this new house. It's like, oh, I'm not good enough to move into this new house and then to, let's say, find a job here where I can show up day in, day out in order to pay for this house, because I'm going to be in a mindset that it's going to be a struggle here, or every day that I'm, you know, I don't have any skill to find said job that can support it. That's a mindset, you know, rather than being confident and saying, if I move towards this home that I want here, you know, I can make something work here, because the truth of the matter is that I do have a skill, that I am confident enough to find employment that can support me in this home. Because you could talk yourself out of it if it's kind of something new or something scary, right? Or let's use the analogy of a relationship, saying, okay, I might not have the ability here to show up in a connection and work together here, because of a limitation that I'm telling myself. So there's an illusion we're having to really cut through here in order to bring a balanced mindset to a situation. Otherwise, it will end up in a painful ending here, because someone's more focused on just kind of the reconciliation, but still hasn't prioritized having to look at the truth of the matter here in order to really, like, I think there's desire to move forward, right? But the no here is saying, you know, the no pathway is saying that there has to be something here that definitely changes in a mindset here, in the way we're logically looking at something here, because we might just be cutting something off and saying we can't do something. We can't do something, but we're leaning towards maybe the more surface type reward here rather than the rest of it. Okay, so let's look at what we got here for an oracle card. We got conception. Yes, 16, or the number 7. It says the frequency of conception invites us to bring our consciousness to our origin, the place where everything in creation begins. It helps us to remember the infinite potential and possibilities of this space and what we can manifest through our own focused awareness and intention. This is exactly what we're talking about, and it's interesting because it talks about consciousness in the first. Yes, this consciousness here is exactly where we are able to manifest through our own awareness and intention. So if we believe we cannot, you know, whatever, have the ability to do something here to pull this off or to support it more in depth, then we talk ourselves out of it, and that isn't necessarily a truth, but it's a logic we're carrying, right? So we need to be aware of our intention, aware of our own logic, aware of knowing that there is an infinite amount of potential and possibilities for us to support something here, and to really question what we're, or our inner dialogue, what we're saying to ourselves. It's all about how, because with conception, I feel like in order for something to be birthed, in order for something to be birthed and supported, there needs to be a review of the root, okay? The root of what are we telling ourselves? How do we, and why are we telling ourselves this? And, you know, what sort of realistic expectation do we have for ourselves, and that sort of thing. I'm also getting, for some of you guys, there is something about having to be honest with something here that we already know to be true, but maybe it's taken us some time to see through it. So we have to, if we decide, you know, whatever, because I feel like there's something here that you really want, okay? I feel like you really want this to kind of be a yes, is what I'm feeling here. But there's something here that is, that you're thinking or seeing not clearly. So I feel like if there's more communication, if there's more clarity out of whatever this is, because I feel like in order to make it happen, there has to be some sort of clarity, communication, and something has to kind of come out of an illusion here. So it could be our own mindset, or it could be the fact that we are knowing something to be a certain way, but we might not want it to be. So we have to come forward with communication, right? Like maybe we see this dream home and we're like, oh, it's beautiful. So we're telling ourselves that it's the dream home. But then when we look at, you know, on paper here and we calculate it, it's just something that isn't feasible, really. Okay, that's a fact that we might need to cut through this illusion and say, I maybe need to find a more affordable home here in this area, right? But we might not want to see it. Or we might be, you know, in a job here where it's like, okay, this sign-in bonus sounds really good. Maybe whatever, it's a $5,000 sign-in bonus. You're like, great, but it's like, you might be turning down another job that might have not give a sign-in bonus, but over time, there would have been a better career path in, you know, you growing with an organization that eventually would support your everyday. Whereas this one, maybe a few months from now, you'll say, okay, I've spent my sign-in bonus and I'm not making any money or enough for me to support something here. So something like this that I think, because we were seeing the devil in the yes, like something here that I feel you're needing to get really honest about and see that I don't think you're seeing or wanting to see. And it could be something within yourself that might be a lie as well, okay, that you're not capable or able, or something here that you're running with as a certain logic here. And I do feel like there's something about the other energy here, or one of the energies, which could be yours, that is not necessarily going to be able to reflect or bring about a balance here that's required in order for things to be successful. One's struggling while the other might be not, or kind of being an obstacle more. Okay, lots of obstacle. Let's look at another oracle card here for the no pathway. For the no pathway, one more card here. One more card here, spirits. We have sitting with sorrow. I was getting kind of, I mean, from this one, I said it was almost like mourning, right, is what I use, and I don't use mourning for this card. So sitting with sorrow, number 8 or 26, and 8 is the strength card in the tarot, which is where we have to use our willpower to face something here. Okay, now there's lots of areas where we might have to face our willpower and being honest with ourselves to see a truth here and cut through an illusion. We're hanging on to something we want to see, or we're needing to cut through an illusion that we're telling ourselves something that is not necessarily true because of our inability to be confident in something here. Okay, so either which way, there's a strength being called upon you. And it's difficult because sitting with sorrow means if we're honest, if we see through something, then we know we're going to be in this energy. We know we're going to have to face some sort of truth here that we don't want to see or hear. Okay, or if we tell ourselves, you know, maybe we're not confident or good enough or blah, 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 and then we realize the truth that, you know, we have infinite amount of potential, then it's like, then you're going to have to know and sit with that, knowing you're going to have to act. And the sorrow is really more you kind of getting this anxious feeling of like, okay, let's say I act, and then let's say something goes horribly wrong here, because now you're still needing to face a fear here, which is your courage to know that you are capable. So lots of different energies kind of coming through here, depending on which side you're falling in. But the sitting with sorrow is an inevitable energy here that's coming through here, because I feel like when you say no, you know, you're going to, like I said, I feel you want to. So if you say no, it's like, but I don't want to sit in the sorrow. I don't want to face whatever thing is, or say no to the sign-in bonus, or say no to the reconciliation, or miss out on the celebration here, the initial celebration, or whatever it is. So that's going to be sorrowful. But in the long run, it's like sitting with this sorrow is temporary, is requiring you to sit in your courage. But this type of an energy here, you know, I feel is more like painful, is long-term, is something you don't want to have to really go through again, or go through period, because of something not being right, some sort of something needing to you know, be balanced and come in a balanced way here. And that could be you contributing in a balanced way, or the situation needing to really be in a position to support you, okay, without you having to fight. So I feel like the inevitable here is having to sit with the truth that may bring in a piece of sorrow here of a reality. But as long as you know that there is truth here that you're acting in line with, then I feel like this sorrow is temporary, okay? So this is what I see here for no's. This is interesting too. See how this plays out. We're going to move into the maybe pile. And yeah, let's see what the maybe pile has to say here. All right, so put these away and get into the maybes. Get into the maybes. All right, so pile number 3, maybe group. Very important that if you just skipped ahead, that you listen to this disclaimer. The maybe is the pathway to the maybe. Okay, so this is the maybe group, and what this means is that whatever situation you are contemplating here, if you don't do anything at all, okay, which could result in a no, because sometimes no action, inaction is indeed giving an answer here of a no. But what the maybe pile is we don't do anything. We don't say yes, we don't say no, but energetically, we're not releasing and we're not asserting our energy towards anything. We're kind of just letting things unfold, okay? But energetically, we might still be, or we are still kind of there. We're still there because we haven't turned it down, we haven't said no, and we're still tossing up the idea, but we're not really, taking the bull by the horns here. So this is the maybe pile. Okay, for this scenario. So you need to have your scenario in tow, or at least, you need to know what your scenario is here. Now, this could be anything from, if I don't take this opportunity to move to this town and kind of sit on it, what will happen? Okay, or if I don't take this opportunity to get into this connection or relationship with said person, what will happen here? But I'm not outrightly saying no. I'm just right now kind of waiting to see what happens. What will happen? Okay. Or if I stay in this job place and I don't really look for another job, I'm not quitting, I'm kind of just keeping the status quo, although I'm contemplating, do I go, do I stay? I'm not quite sure. So I just I'm energetically still here. I'm not saying that I want to stay here, but I'm also, not quitting or anything like that. So this is the maybe pile. Let's look at the outcome here. Let's look at the outcome. Essentially, this is continuing your energy in the same way that maybe you are sitting today without asserting yourself or doing anything different. Could be. Okay, apply this to however you see fit. So my job is to read the energy, and your job is to apply this to however situation you've got going on. We all got different circumstances here, okay? So we got the 9 of Wands, we got the 7 of Swords in reverse, we have the Star in reverse, we have the Queen of Pentacles, and these two wanted to come together, 7 of Pentacles and the Hangman. Okay. Next layer here. We have the 7 of Cups in reverse. We have the 10 of Cups. And we have the Queen of Swords in reverse. And we have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. All right, next layer here, we have the 6 of Wands in reverse. We have the 2 of Pentacles in the same spot that we did in the no pile, except it was reversed. Now it is upright. And we have the Ace of Pentacles. And for the outcome, which we won't reveal just yet, we have 1, Spirit saying 2. Spirit was saying 2 for the maybe. Interesting. All right, so Give me a second for the maybe pile here. I'm getting a head rush here. Very intense, this maybe pile. Very intense here. Okay, I don't know if you guys saw yes and no, and now you're just at the maybe, or if you come straight to the maybe, but either which way, some of this might be repetitive because I feel like the same situation, okay? Which is, I feel as though this is something that you've engaged with in the past, okay? Same employer, maybe you've lived in this hometown and you're contemplating going back, or going back to that same job, or entering that same field, or getting back to the same person, relationship, what have you, whatever. There's some situation here that I feel like you've experienced something, okay? Now, if this isn't the same person, it's like you're contemplating, do I get back into a relationship because I was in one, okay? So it's the same kind of energy that you're contemplating getting back into, or like you've taken a long time out of employment and you're like, do I go back into the work field that I've removed myself from sometimes. So it's kind of like an energy here of going, should I experience the same thing again? Is it different? Am I going to enjoy it? What's going on here? And I feel like you've experienced something here that's made you a little bit, I was going to say hesitant, or I was going to say keeps you in a guarded stance. I just feel like there's something here that you're kind of defensive about, because I think you've experienced some challenge here, okay? And I feel like you experienced it. I think you've seen it here, and there was something about it you did not like. There's something here about it you did not like, and I feel like you have a desire here to make something happen. I feel a pretty secure energy here. And when I say secure, it's like somebody who is very able and able to step forward here and able to do something here, but hesitant. Okay, very hesitant. And it could be, if I do put forward my commitments, my energy, whatever it is, am I going to get fucked over, essentially? Am I going to find out that it's the same thing here? Or am I going to find out that I experienced something here that I did not want to? What am I going to get out of this result? So I don't do anything here, although there's a desire here to see something as hopeful, but we're either seeing it as through the lens of it's going to just screw me over, or I'm gonna, if I do put in the investment here, yeah, it's like I have one sort of energy left in me. Do I want to invest it here, only to find out maybe I'm going to be disappointed? So yeah, it's like, this is the maybe. So do I just kind of stay here then in limbo rather than investing or whatever? So there's going to be multiple scenarios here in which this is going to come across. So just apply what you want. I feel like there is, again, the two energies I was feeling. One energy here is reliable. I feel the other energy here is a little bit more influx and difficult to work with. Okay, and the difficult to work with here, I feel like needs to get very clear. So if you're uncertain and kind of really all over the place and unclear, you need to get clear before saying yes or no. So this maybe period might be good for you, because I feel like the maybe period here is you not really doing anything, but what you need to do is make sure you get clear. But I feel like you're not maybe going to be able to utilize this period to do so. And that's what you kind of need to do. You kind of need to get very, very clear here. And I feel like the potential in the situation has a lot of potential to being kind of like your dream come true here, but it won't, because I feel like, I say won't in this energy as it's sitting right now, because I feel like either you need to get very, very clear about something that you've been either not clear about or choosing or prioritizing, or whatever energy you're involved with here, you've been energetically at some point invested and putting forward energy and making something happen, and it's been difficult to work with because it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing here. So although there's a full potential, it's like you can't speak for someone else here. Okay, so I feel as though this is not going to be successful It's not going to be a successful win until both parties are at the same level of security and investment here. And one's getting very clear. And the only way we'll know if this one is very clear is that it prioritizes whatever the situation is here. Now, I'm going to give scenarios here, okay? Let's say this is a relationship's pretty straightforward, okay? I feel like one person here has maybe contributed in the past, or maybe, you know, is someone you could rely on here. This could be your energy, okay? Or it's, you know, I don't know, flip roles, but I feel like one energy wants to invest or has invested and didn't really get much out of it, so now they're in limbo because they're contemplating, is it worth it? Am I going to get my full potential out of this situation? Something's come to light that I didn't like. I feel kind of like I'm defending my position here. You know, I haven't said no, I haven't said yes, but it's like, do I go in again and just get beat up here? Okay. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, the other person here is not clear, is still of an energy here. They need to get clear, although there is a potential, they need to get clear. Now, if this is like, do I move to my hometown? It's like, you're in an energy here. It's like, you know, I need to make sure that if I move to my hometown, the potential here is there's a lot of uncertainty and things that need to get clear. It's like, okay, where exactly would you work here, and what exactly would be your logistics from work to home, or where would you stay? Like, there's still so many questions that need to get completely clear about here. In order for it to be successful, right? Like, there's still like maybe an idea in your mind about what it would look like, but I don't think it's very clear and pointed as to exactly where would you live, exactly where would you work, exactly, you know, how would your income come in, like that sort of thing, rather than just, do I move back to my hometown, right? Or, you know, should I buy that home? You know, what happens here if I just kind of, or buy a new home, let's say, for example, should I, you know, buy a new home here? It's like, okay, you need to get enlightened here as to where would it be located? Would this impact your work? How much are you looking at spending here? You know, so there's a potential for this to be very successful, but there's details that need ironing out that maybe you're not looking at. You're kind of just looking at the question here as a whole. You know, and if this is like a job, I mean, I could go on for scenarios, so I'll just give those three. Let's say a job here where it's like, in the past, I've dedicated my time, you know, they never paid me enough. Should I go back? I mean, it has the potential for me to be successful, because there is different roles in this organization and different things here that I'm able to grow into. But it's like, ask the question, you know, where would you start? Like, what would the pay be? What is the expectation? How soon would you be able to, you know, progress up the pay scale here? When are you expected to get promotions? And, you know, what division, what department, what are the people here? Are these the same people that you tried to escape before here that didn't work, that you might have felt like you were, you know, having to defend yourself against maybe a toxic type environment here, or a pay structure that didn't quite work for your living? So there's things that need to get ironed out with this contract and clear, right? So if you stay in the maybe, I feel like this might be the best option for you to get enlightened here. And either one, whatever is uncertain needs to get certain here, okay? If that is the other person and sort of a relationship connection. If you're the one needing to get more information to get clear to make this decision, then take this as opportunity for you to ask more questions and get very clear and certain about something here. Okay, start asking all those details. But I feel like your experience of what you've experienced here is true. You experience something here that you can't kind of unsee here, that is distasteful or unpleasant about the situation here. That I feel like if it remains the same, it's going to leave you in a pretty bad state here, okay? So it needs to prove itself worthy here, or you need to do something here in order to change the situation or the circumstance. If you're resonating with the one that is kind of unclear here, let's say in a connection here, you're unclear, you have lots of options, you're not quite sure. There's something here about needing to really get clear and prioritize something here that's needs to go from a back and forth to selecting one and being, you know, certain on it in order for there to be a victory. Because right now it's like prioritizing two things or choosing two things, not getting certain on one. Okay, same with any situation here. It's like you're going back and forth. So maybe in an energetic way, you're still connected to two things. And it's not going to work. You know, it won't work. In order for there to be success, there needs to be one thing here, because that's the priority. Otherwise, you're going back and forth and it causes turbulency. It needs to get very pointed here. Let's look at the outcome. Okay, let's look at the outcome here for the sitting in this, maybe this inaction, but still energetically kind of involved here. Page of Wands in reverse and the Knight of Cups in reverse. So that's an interesting energy here. Pages are all about, you know, the first stages here. This is optimism in having the desire to ask the questions, move forward, the desire to take that step and explore. But I feel like with the Knight of Cups in reverse, this is like, this is giving me those two energies here. It's almost like we need to get very clear about what we want to explore in order to prioritize something here that maybe we're not very clear about where our heart is sitting here, or what we need to offer here of ourself. Okay, because this is like how we are perceived. This is also a perception card here by others, because knights, you know, knights are definitely how others are perceiving us here. So it's almost like we got to ask, what can we do here, and what is in the hands of the situation itself to provide. So I feel like no matter how optimistic we might be, there's another energy here that also has to be equally optimistic and show up. And maybe you are optimistic and have a desire here, but when it comes to fulfilling an outward movement here, you might fall short. Or you might want to, you know, engage in some way, but there's a need to get very clear and honest with self that no matter what the potential is here, if another energy is in influx and not prioritizing, because no matter how optimistic you are, it may just not show up here, okay, then we need to be clear about this, that that's not going to be successful. There needs to be two energies here. So asking questions before saying yes or no is optimal, and I feel this energy is the optimal one, because I feel like things are unfolding, things are still unclear, there's lots of decisions up in the air. It's still not a good successful situation here, because things are ironing out here. Okay, there's still decisions back and forth, and if you're going back and forth, you need to decide. And if you're engaged in something here that's not as solid as you are, it needs to be certain. And that's why we have this energy, you know, hey, Mr. Employer, like, okay, where do you see me, you know, 2-3 years from now? Like, get it in writing, or at least get there to be a clear understanding, because maybe your employer never gave it any thought, right? And again, if you're buying a home, it's like, do I move to the east side or the west side? Like, you're kind of up in the air, but you're more focused on, okay, yeah, do I move? It's like, okay, well, let's start asking, you know, if I move to the east side and I live on the west side, like, so, okay, maybe the west side it is. And then it's like, well, if I move there, then it's like, oh, but, you know, maybe my family is here. Like, there needs to be a narrowing down of, am I moving east or west? Am I actually really wanting a house? Am I wanting a condo? Like, whatever the thing is, I feel like the back and forth needs to get more pointed. And this maybe energy, this is where we get more clear. This is where we see this potential, but we're not only seeing it as a thing, we're making it a reality and a manifestation. We're not just hung up in the optimism of, yeah, I want this job, or I want to move, or I want to get back with this relationship or this partnership, and then we're disappointed because we can't show up, or it doesn't show up, or it doesn't give to us the fulfillment we need in our heart space, because just no matter how optimistic we are, right, in this early stages. So I feel like this is an energy here of, you know, you maybe being a little naive, maybe, because we're only seeing kind of the surface temporary joy or the thing here as a thing that's a desire. And maybe we see it as a full 10 of cups, but we still haven't ironed out what the meat of it, how it's going to get there, you know, or what our involvement is in this whole thing. How do we need to show up, right? Are we hindering, or are we adding to the action here that's going to lead to this 10 of cups, which it could certainly be as a yes. So long story short, I do feel as though you have a lot of involvement here in what it is that you can do, but you can't control another. And if you're not seeing yourself as someone who is able to contribute, you certainly are. Okay, and you got to get very clear here. And if you are doing everything you can and have done everything you can, but it's still not resulting, then it's like that. Then you got your answer here. You can't control another who is going back and forth here until they get certain. So there's not much you can do except for get very clear, maybe lay a boundary and be very firm with it. Okay. So let's see these oracle cards. There's more guidance here for you. Opening to dreams and visions, number 28. 28 is 10, which is an ending. I feel like there needs to be an ending of indecision. There needs to be an ending of a cycle here that's the back and forth. There needs to be a clarity, which would bring an ending to sitting in limbo here, okay? So I feel like you're working your way towards a yes or a no, but you're still in that process, which is, you know, opening yourself up to what could it look like? What does this potential look like? But then we're also asking those questions along the way to get there. So we're open to it. We're not shutting something down outright. And we're not jumping on board blindly either. So yeah, we really have to open ourselves up to the full potential here. I feel like there's a complete full ability to have fulfillment, emotional fulfillment here, and whatever this is. Okay, there definitely is. Even if we've experienced, you know, self-sabotage, or if we've experienced deception or experienced something that didn't give us what we wanted in the past, there's still an ability for us to get what we want. But it's like, how do we get there, right? You're only in control of yourself. And it's like, be open to there being this possibility, but also be very clear about what that looks like for you. All right, so throat chakra, yeah, be clear. This is that communication, getting clear. The frequency of throat chakra, the blue flower of life, supports our self-expression and our sense of peace and balance. So we were getting this balance thing because I do feel like in order for there to be, you know, going from a back and forth or a turbulent state to more of a grounded and something manifesting and being more solid and making something happen here, working towards a potential, there needs to be communication. And in order to communicate, there needs to be certainty, right? I mean, we can ask questions in order to get clear and certain, but sometimes we need to really get out of the fog in order to understand things better. Then we can ask better pointed questions here. But I feel we need to come with communication with the throat chakra, you know, and we're in a period of enlightenment, which means we're getting information here, which makes things clear, seeing things from a different perspective. You know, maybe getting clear about how committed was I, how much energy was I really putting into something here, and if it didn't work out, was it because of my action? You know, was it because maybe I didn't energetically put in here, or was I energetically putting into something here, but I self-sabotaged, you know, or did someone deceive me, right? Is that why I'm defensive? I don't want to experience something like this, or I was my own worst enemy, right? Like all of these things need to get very, very clear in order for us then to ask the right questions of ourselves and then of a situation here. So, yeah, I mean, you can apply this to however, but I feel like you've had an experience here that you know, why you're shying away makes complete sense here because of whatever experience you might have or whatever you're telling yourself, but that's where we need to address in order to get out of limbo, because we can't stay in this state forever. Okay, but I feel like this is kind of spirit saying, if you're in this state, this is probably the best state right now, because I feel divine timing in play here. This is happening for you to get clear, for you to understand your own role here. And was it you? Is it someone else? Is it still turbulent? You know, no matter how optimistic, what is the other energy here? Is this your energy? Are you showing up? Are you in an energy of wearing your heart on your sleeve, available here, coming out of yourself to offer something? Or is someone else in this energy? Are you both in this energy, or is only one person and the other one's kind of not? okay? Because we gotta only have success here and have victory when there's an equal balance here, and that's how things manifest, right? But can't be a back and forth and a flip-flop, because there's too many options here. There's so many options still here that can happen either which way here, and it causes a lot of confusion. And in order to cut through confusion, the Queen of Swords needs to take her blade and be honest and have communications here, okay? She needs to say, out of all of this, which cup is it? You know, which cup is it that's going to lead me to this? And what are the steps here that I need? She needs to choose the right cup here. Right cup out of the 7 of Cups in order to move towards this. But you can't necessarily just jump to a 10 of Cups here without choosing and prioritizing and really taking a look at what that looks like, okay? And then taking the first step and planting that seed. And I think the first step is having that honest communication. Yeah, that's definitely the first step here. Communicating what that looks like and being very open. Okay, open to what our dream is. This is the dream. This is our desires of a dream come true in the future for ourselves that we might think might not be able to happen for us. Okay, we might not have a hope here. This was in reverse. A hope here that we can get our dream, our desire. You know, this is our dreams and our desires for ourselves for the future here. So it is possible. It is able to manifest, but how do we do this? And is it with this situation with this person? Well, both sides need to kind of come into play here. And if you know that you've been the one available and communicating, then there's your answer, right? And if you have not been honest with yourself, then time to get honest. And if you are now honest and clear with yourself, it's time to step forward and engage with something that has a full potential here. And maybe you are in an energy of holding yourself back or sabotaging your own dream here. Okay, so you can't control anyone but you. There is beautiful potential here. I hope this works out. And leave a comment. Let me know how this reading went. It's quite interesting. All right. Love you guys very, very much. I will see you soon. Bye.